10 reasons why owning rentals suck. We're going to have this conversation with the one and only Cody Davis, the initial speaker at our upcoming Vegas event. Cody, it is less than 3 weeks away. I am so looking forward to seeing you and your wife. But let's get into the topic at hand. We're going to play ping pong back and forth, get 10 reasons why owning rentals suck. You're up first.
You don't have a proof of concept until you actually do it, and it's a big commitment. You take the jump, you have the least amount of information, and you get inklings of ideas that it's going to work from people like yourself, Matt the Lumberjack, but you don't really know. And so that nervousness on the first deal sucks.
Amen to that. Well, I'll actually go back to our first deal, and this is really quite a wake-up call for me. Bad things will happen, and specifically evictions. If you own rentals long enough, and hopefully it's not your first tenant after the first month, which was my case, evictions will happen. And if you're in the state of California, that might mean 3 months and $1,000. And that's not fun, because not only do you have to keep paying mortgages, you have to keep doing maintenance, taxes, insurance. But this whole reason for buying cash flow real estate was cash flow. And in my example, you can read about it in my first book, One Rental at a Time. It nearly ruined us, because not only did we not collect rent for 3 months and spend $1,000, but we were left with a dumpster fire. And I can still remember the day walking into the living room and seeing wine bottles in my drywall from this drunk asshole poking holes in my drywall. So yeah, he was being destructive on top of not paying rent. So yeah, evictions will happen. It's not first one.
It'll definitely happen, because this game is a slow one. That's going to be my second point. It takes a decade. Now, for retirement standards, that's fast. But to feel a lot of benefit from rentals, it's a very slow game. It took me 5 years to start paying myself consistent cash flow, like actually doing the distribution every month on my first rental. It does take a while. That's discouraging, because you don't really know if you did it right.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that one, because I think it needs to be done. What I tell people is, it feels like this little drip, $200. But oh, by the way, for most of you, that $200 disappears with one water heater or one broken window or one plumbing thing. That little cash flow that spreadsheet said was going to come doesn't seem to show up in those first couple of years, and it's tough. And that little drip doesn't even turn into a steady stream for 5 years, right? The first 5 years suck. It will eventually, to your point, it takes time. It takes a decade. It will turn into a raging river where you can take distributions and the like, and you can retire financially free at some point, like so many others. But damn, it takes time. I'm going to hit that one twice. So that's a good one. What do you got for number 3?
My third one, mistakes are hard to correct. So if you buy wrong, you can't just sell it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you could sell it tomorrow, there's a lot of costs associated with selling assets. So you might lose 8 to 10% of that sales price, if not more, if you have to add in concessions. So it's very expensive when mistakes happen. It's very slow to fix them. And if you get into an asset that you have no idea what you're doing on, you can put yourself into a position of pain for a very long period of time. And that is a huge downside of rentals, that people think they can just jump in and do okay. Well, when you don't do okay, you're not doing okay for quite a while.
Yeah, amen to that. My third one is going to be, whether you like it or not, this is a people business. Now, for the most part, being a people business is a positive, but as somebody who is a landlord, and the more units you have, the more tenants you have, people are people, and sometimes they're crazy. They go through bad situations, and they get addicted to drugs, and they get divorced, and they lose jobs, and right, lots of bad things can happen in life. And as a landlord, you are kind of that second derivative, and sometimes that comes your way, and you're going to hear all kinds of stories, all kinds of excuses. Some true, some not. Once there's people involved, and certainly if you own apartment buildings, right? It's not as bad if you own houses, because again, it's their place. They do that. But if you're in a big apartment building, you're going to hear about neighbors and yelling and crying babies and barking dogs and music and parking, and oh my goodness. it is certainly a people business, which sometimes has a downside, can be very stressful.
Yeah, and on the people business thing, I'll segue off of that for my fourth. It's the whole life of keeping up with the Joneses because it's so popular on the internet. And this is one of my least favorite drawbacks. Everybody in the real estate business online is doing good. And when you're not doing good, it's a big Debbie Downer. It's awful because everybody else always has it made on the internet. And so if you jump into rentals and you're in a room with other people and not in a good community, but you're just out there and you're chatting with people that have rentals, it's always going to seem like they're doing better than you.
Yeah, good point.
A lot of people are going to do that, and it's very discouraging. I haven't seen that much for really any other community other than rentals. It's all about the unit count, about the net worth, about the gross rental income. And you just have to stay the course. The good thing about rentals, which is not the topic of the video, is if you do it long enough with disciplined buy box and rules, you will do okay.
Yeah.
The drawback is everybody's always doing better than you online. And that is emotionally taxing because you think you're doing something wrong when really you're doing everything right.
Yeah. You know what we're going to do, just because this is my show, once we get through the 10, we're going to come back and actually give you 2 positives. So we're going to end on a positive note. So think about that. We're going to do 2 positives. But again, my number 4 is really bad things are going to happen. I remember the first time I got a phone call that one of my duplexes were on fire, and it was a total loss. It was burnt to the ground. And, thankfully nobody was harmed. No pets were harmed. But, I think we were 10 years in the business before I had that first phone call. And I felt like my heart jumped out of my chest. I mean, it was frightening to see this. Now, thankfully we had insurance, and again, no loss of life, pet or human. But again, you're going to have some terrifying phone calls. Tree limbs sometimes break and fall on cars or roofs. You're going to have some wild expenses. I remember a $50,000 roof on an apartment building one time. And yeah, there are going to be some big, scary numbers and some scary phone calls. Now, again, you can prepare for them, but man, I still remember that first phone call. Now, if it happens, it's no big deal, but man, that first one, whoo, scary.
Yeah. And my last one, I've had some fires, never a total loss, but I've had some scary ones. You can do everything right and still come out behind someone who did everything wrong. You could vet the tenants.
Yeah.
You could get long-term fixed rate debt, and you could still lose the asset if something goes completely wrong. You could do all your due diligence. And if you just get enough bad luck streaks early, you're likely to quit.
Yeah.
And that's a real downside of rentals, because if you have a really bad experience, I think about your first experience. You talk with your wife. It's like, did we do anything wrong? No, you did everything right, and it was still super painful. For every one of you, there's going to be a lot of people that say this isn't for me because maybe they don't have.
Dude, I was ready to give up. You know this. I was ready to quit. I was, and it was only Olivia's genius that kept us in the game. Yeah, I was ready.
Yeah, so it's an easy business to wash out of because you could do everything right and still fail.
Yeah, I love that. Well, my final one, and again, remember, we're going to come right back and going to get 2 positives from each of us. The last one I'll talk about is there's money. Money's involved. Real estate's money. And because money's involved, you are going to get a lot of bad actors, right? I've had property managers steal. I've had contractors steal. I've had tenants steal. If you are a limited partner, you probably had, general partners steal from you and partnerships blow up, and, lots of money could be made, but also lots of money could be lost. Some, it's really funny when we look back in a couple of years on all the syndications that blow up. How many of them blew up because they were just bad deals? How many of them blew up because of fraud? How many blew up because they were idiots? And, all of those are going to be really interesting to look at. So anytime there's money involved, you're going to get some shysters and gurus and some bad actors. And usually those people are really loud on social media, and they're going to attract a lot of LPs. And it's just a sad state of affairs. I've been through this cycle twice. I lost a lot of people, invest in others in 05, 06 to be lost in 08, 09. and it's going to happen again, unfortunately. But let's flip the script. Let's land on a positive note. What's one positive about owning rentals? We'll do 2 each.
My first positive note is that regardless of your life position, and this is speaking as someone in the United States, because I don't know about every other country, but if you're living in the United States, regardless of position, you can retire better off than you are today with real estate. And I truly believe that that can be for anybody, whether you're starting at 60 and you're like, I just want to retire at 70, or you're 20 and you want to retire at 30. It's possible for just about everybody that can stick to a plan after they set one out.
Yeah, my first one's going to be kind of echoing your one earlier. And, we talked about all these negatives, and we talked about the first 5 years sucking and the mistakes. But if you can fight tooth and nail to stay in the game, you're going to be wealthy. I mean, the chances of you being wealthy in a decade are really, really high. Because again, inflation's a feature, not a bug. Rents go up, values go up, debt goes down, inflation reduced debt destruction, to quote Jason Hartman. It's just all there for you. And again, I want to be clear, like I wrote about in my book, One Rental at a Time, my goal at starting, Cody, was 4 freaking single family homes. Why 4? 4 was not going to change my life, but 4 was going to give me options at 65. That's why I did this. Now, obviously, the story goes on from there, but I tell people all the time, even Coach Carson in his book, The Small and Mighty Investors, quotes me talking about getting to 4. I think most people's lives would be changed for generations if they got to 4. So yeah, getting wealthy is damn near certain if you can stay in the game for 10 years. So what's your last positive?
You get to discover a lot about yourself. More than the money, things aren't going to go right. If you're in business and you scale and you're in it long enough, you're going to get sued. You have to overcome challenges. There's a lot of self-development that happens on this journey. It's been a lot for me over the last 7 years. I've been doing this. I'm 70% of the way through my tenure, which is exciting. But there's been a lot of discovery, a lot of growing that I've had to do, a lot of painful situations I've had to address, and I'm better off for it. There are things that I just couldn't know had I not jumped into this. I could have done any other business and I wouldn't have found some of the things I had to find within myself on this journey. So the self-discovery is definitely a benefit.
Love that. Well, my final one is goes back to your point about this works in the United States. I have no idea if this works elsewhere. But again, you don't have to do what Cody and I did. You could just do what Lumberjack coined, the 4-3-2-1 strategy, and likely be wealthy in a decade. What is the 4-3-2-1? Well, 4-3-2-1 stands for you buy a 4-plex and live in it. You live in one of the units, and then you let the other 3. Why do you want to do this? Because you get the best financing, the lowest down, 3.5% down, 5% down. You live in it for 2 years. You live in it for 3 years. Then you buy a triplex, live in it for 2 or 3 years. Then you buy a duplex, and then you buy this single family home, right? When you do something like this over the course of a decade, you end up with 10 units. 4-3-2-1 becomes 10 units. You've never put more than 5% down, and you've had your tenants pay for your housing, right? There's all these sexy strategies, rent by room or co-living or Airbnb, short-term rentals, mobile home parks, flipping, ground development. Oh, dude, why overcomplicate it? Just buy a 4-plex and live in it for a couple of years. Buy a triplex, live in it for a couple of years. Buy a duplex, buy a single, and you're done. I would tell every 18-year-old graduating high school, your mission is the 4-3-2-1. By the time you are 30 freaking years old, you own 10 units and are financially free. Again, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but that is the strategy I would beat into 18-year-olds to go after.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah,
that's enough.
enough. And you don't need more than that. And it's nice to have more than that if it rewards you. But if you could have more and you could also lose it versus if you could have that and have a good foundation and not lose it, I'd pick the not lose it part, because if you don't have to play the game twice, that's the scariest thing. I mean, the number one scariest thing for me with rentals is if I invest 10 years and I lose everything.
Play the game twice. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, good.
Yeah, love that.
Love that. Very cool. Well, Cody, you do amazing stuff on your channel. Where can people find you?
Cody Davis Business Adventures. And again, at the Vegas event, we'll be talking about taking the next step, not getting started, but taking the next step. Because if you're getting started, that is your next step. And it'll be fun to address that there.
There you go. Look forward to it. Speaker number 1, day 1, 8 a.m. Saturday morning. You're amazing. Look forward to meeting the wife. Take care.
Yep. See ya.